Oh, Indy couldn't make it, by the way. Shakina Grace,
Oh.
Shakina Ma, Missy. I don't know if I told you guys. Okay, I think we are live. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel, All That Is. Wow, we do have a great group here tonight. So, welcome to these beautiful, powerful goddesses that have joined me tonight. And as we go through this show, you'll get to see them and introduce themselves. They'll introduce themselves to you. I just wanted to say that while I was extending this invitation out to these folks here on the physical on the Earth planet, I should say, the interdimensional beings got very, very excited. So that's why I decided to call it a cosmic party. We're not just here on the physical level; it's a cosmic party, and so we've got higher dimensional beings that are celebrating this event with us. So yeah, I just wanted to welcome everybody here to the chat as well. Hopefully, we'll get some folks in the chat as well coming in shortly. Um, and so, welcome, folks. I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to first off just start with a bit of gratitude in my heart, first of all, to the Creator for bringing me these beautiful beings as my friends and allowing me to interact with them on such a personal level. And so I'd like to just do a round robin as we go through the show and just have everybody welcome to the show and just introduce themselves. And so for me, I just want to say that I am here as a human, as Racquel, and I identify as the seed of Brahma, a soul spark from the 12th dimensional energy. And I've come to realize that I hold within me those 12 dimensional codes. And so that blueprint has been activated within my body over the last little while. And so I've come to align myself with those energies. And so that's my way of identifying now with that new energy. And as you'll get to know Shakina Grace's story, she has, in a way, enlightened me to claim that for myself. And so I've started to introduce myself as the seed of Brahma. So I'd love it if you guys can, as you introduce yourselves, just if you know where you are from in terms of your star nation, bring that up, bring that forward. It would be interesting to for everybody to know where you folks are from. So with that, a heartfelt thank you to all of you for being here. You have individually and collectively played such a beautiful role in this last year. We're coming to the end of this 2025, so it's still this year, but you have each played such a beautiful role in my life. And so I just wanted to bring all of you together to extend that thank you, that gratitude in my heart for all the work that we have done together individually, collectively, and just, your support of my work and the work that we are doing as a collective during these often very difficult times that we are all facing. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to each and every one of you here. So I don't know who wants to go first. Ani, are you ready to
Sure,
chat? All right.
sure.
So if you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for bringing us here today. It's been a while since we've sat together on a call, and I thank you for that. And I'm really happy to see all the ladies again. And I really enjoyed the roundtables, and I've missed them. And it was a welcome surprise for you to email us and invite us on here. So thank you. So my name is Ani Sophine, and I have a podcast called Quantum Messages with Ani Sophine. And I would say, based upon my research about myself, I supposedly come from the Andromeda galaxy. So I think that's where my star seed kind of star nation beings are from that I connect with. And I believe I'm here on this planet to be a guardian as we're transitioning from kind of the ending into this like new beginning that's coming forth, and just to be support for Mother Earth and support for all the star seeds that are here, and to be as bright a light as possible. as there's so much darkness and shadow right now. So that's, I really believe that that's, what, where I need to sit and am sitting right now in my place forward on our beautiful Mother Earth. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Me?
Missy,
I
yeah,
guess I
go
guess I'll
ahead.
go. I'm Missy Hill right now, broadcasting to you from the Cherokee Nation. Not that I have any Cherokee in me at all, but that's where I am in. I'm in Western North Carolina, and it seems like we always get together in the winter time. Isn't that interesting? Like it started with winter, and then the whole, then we hadn't seen each other all summer, and here we are almost, we're into winter again, the end of 2025. According to my astrology, I definitely came through the Antares gate because I'm a Scorpio, and I highly resonate with the feline beings. So I've got the Lyran, and I also connect with the Andromedan. I would say I'm definitely an Indigo type 1 and connect with the Elohim, and also a K+8, which means I've on another level already done my Adashi return cycle and came back in. Why I came back in, I don't know, but it's kind of like if anybody ever saw that movie Tron, and what happened is there was writers of a game, and they actually had to incarnate into the game because it broke down. I feel like I'm not even really from here, and chose to come in here for whatever reason, and then kind of got stuck in these cycles down here. So here we are.
Awesome. Thank you. Shekina Grace, Shekina Ma, who would like to go first?
Yeah, I can go. I didn't realize I was not on mute that whole time, but it's pretty quiet where I am. So I encouraged you to do this, but this is because I have difficulty, or I've had in the past, introducing myself. But I was tuning into it the other day, and I'd like to say that I have like the codes of she, divine feminine, like she, Shen, heart chi, Shina, Shekinah, Shekina. So I definitely have these codes in my birth name, which is Sheena. And the Shen symbol, like the golden halo, has always been something, and that protection of that crown, the golden Christ frequency, has always been something that I've really strongly felt. Sacred Heart is a code that I carry since young. I really fixated on that symbol through my Catholic upbringing, just staring at stained glass windows and really fixating on that Sacred Heart of Christ and Mary frequency. Galactically, I'm connected with Fomalhaut and Archangel Gabriel, Spica, Shaula in the Scorpius constellation, as well as Andromeda. Yeah, so Andromeda is where I had the first experience of actually seeing blue beings and connecting in with, I guess what I felt was my starseed origin, even though I have all of those other signatures in my chart. So definitely feel that I'm an Andromedan star seed connected in with, that mother galaxy, eternal mother frequency. And that's what I'm here to anchor and uphold. I do feel like a mother energy of all children. We recently started a homeschool program for kids in our rural community, and that's 2 days a week, and 1 day a week is like outdoors in nature. So I feel like I'm a encourager of that quantum inner feminine dream space, and I support people in organizing their consciousness to be able to build out those dreams in actuality and start aligning with what brings them joy rather than the grind and something that doesn't feel authentic for them. So this has been my own path to figure out, but then also as I'm figuring it out, I share with others. And very passionate about the body. I'm just so fascinated and in love with the body and the anatomy, and currently really the biological sovereignty, that code of Sophia, and the matrix and the material. This is really interesting to me right now. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're
We'll come
welcome.
back and talk about each of you individually. Shakina Ma?
Hello, everyone. So yep, I am Mintakin. Had known that forever. Had a soul reading done when I was very young by my fairy godmother, who has like this very Russian, ancient, old world energy. And I was quite a mermaid as a child. I grew up in Laguna Beach, California, so I identified as a mermaid from a very early age. And presently now, a fish out of water up here in the Kootenays in British Columbia, Canada, which seems like a real hot zone for shit show. But we're holding the light here. Definitely like Shakina Grace. I was given the name Shakina when I was about 19, working at a Jewish temple preschool, Newport Beach, California. And the ladies there had noticed the children call me Mama, quite a lot. They still do. And so the women that I worked with, they would call me their little Shakina. And it was one particular woman who asked me to carry that name as Shakina, she said, needs to come back. Of course, when you have a Orthodox Jewish woman, they say it quite a little bit different, like Shakina. I can't do it. It's this guttural, glorious way of pronouncing it. So, it's a bit English-fied, the Shakina. And so basically, I am also a child person. I like to recently, in my truth and reconciliation circles I've been involved in for over like 5 years now, begun to discover that the child is really the uncolonized adult. And so when we can preserve that inner child medicine and even heal our pirated adults are pirates, we can then return to that decolonized self and reclaim our power, which is through innocence, a beautiful, beautiful path, also known as the path of beauty, also practiced within the Church of Love. And so this is my medicine. This is what I walk with, is how to return to the path of beauty, the Church of Love, and that inner child innocence that brings us into a place of peace and brings us all into a place where we can return to that law of one, that consciousness of unified field of consciousness. So I've been decoding just kind of how to make our full circle back through my guidance and spirit guides, is being very much in this path of returning to that inner child medicine. So, yeah, that's what I'm all about. Working at a Waldorf school for like 15 years. I really love the mystery schools, really love Rudolf Steiner. Read a lot of Madame Blavatsky and Krishnamurti and, all the various yogis and Siddharthas and, all the beautiful practices of the world. And like with all things, you can, do the mine for gold situation where you pull out the gold from all these beautiful cultures and traditions. And, there's so much truth to all of our colors and ways and forms and shapes and sexes and so on. So, yeah, that's what I'm all about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, we've got a wide variety of folks here, hey? So, based on all of this, ladies, what do you think we are, and where do you think we are in this whole ascension drama, if you will? Like, from your higher perspective, like, what is your sense? Are we going in the right direction? Are we moving away from things? Like, I know there's a lot of earth drama going on right now, but just overall, what do you think is the sense of where we are going, in which direction? Are we heading in the right direction? Do we need to, like, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. What do you folks think?
Think it twists and turns with every day and every choice and every action that is being created. So, as always, it is written, prophetic, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So, I do believe as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And we are on our full circle journey back home from that fallen state, from the fall of grace, which is just falling from the higher dimensions down into density and into form. But certainly, every day we twist and turn. And ultimately, I do believe the sun is our grand galactic wizard who's up there in the sky, really becoming activated. And I am realizing the plasma codes of creation are about to receive the solar flash. And that plasmic energy is connected to not only the earth and the iron core crystal of the earth and the plasma there, but in the plasma in our blood and within the gold and within the various different minerals, as the sun holds the entire periodic table within it. So really, I don't think that we can really go anywhere technically wrong, but we can certainly make it more problematic and create a little bit more dirtiness in the fun. So, yeah, I do believe that there's no wrong, in a sense that it all is going to come to the same destination, however long we detour and get lost and have to go back and retrograde and get back on track. So, ultimately, I believe in an optimistic vision for this age of peace coming.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else want to comment?
It was interesting when you brought up the sun. I felt that organicness to the sun for the first time in a long time during the government shutdown, because the sky was actually clear and they couldn't put all the stuff, all the filters and everything that they normally, are spraying in front of the sun. So there was something that was coming to me about actually being able to go into the firmament where I could actually see the firmament. There was like a few days of a window where something was changing with the sky. And then I always connect to the northern lights. And you had brought up Mintaka. I forgot that I also have Mintaka in my chart. All these things, these little pieces we have in our charts, and depending on times of the year, in the seasonal depiction, I'll connect with a different thing based on, the seasonal depiction of what's going on. But yeah, after that whole thing, right, and then I think the government got online again, but around that time also, the northern lights were visible in a lot of places. I mean, even down as far south as Florida, they saw the northern lights in northern Florida and things like that, so, and then I kind of
Weakening
knew,
magnetic field, hey? It's like the
yeah,
pole shift is already in effect.
right. And I think it also had something to do with Three Eye Atlas too, because that was at the same time, that was behind the sun with its tail and front and back, whatever it is, during the time of our government being shut down. I know some of you guys, you're not in the United States, so that's not relevant, but you know about it and how important it was for what they do in the sky with all the spraying and everything. So yeah, it's interesting because we're definitely in a bifurcation, and I feel that the bifurcation is all the artificial stuff is like being sloughed off, kind of like if Mother Earth was shaking, like a dog shaking the fleas off. It's like, I got a bath and I'm going to shake this off, and everything that's positive and organic is going to be able to, go through the sun to the other side, through that window. How that's going to happen, I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? With this new Three Eye Atlas insertion into our reality, if you will, like everybody just, threw their hands up with NASA giving all of this bullshit narrative about they never really
Yeah,
came out and said it, right? It's like someone else had to take that leadership role and come out and say it. Okay, this is what we are seeing in our skies, right?
yeah,
Well, Third Eye Atlas was actually a smaller comet. There's like over 50 something comets all flying through our skies right now. And the Swan comet was actually the bigger one. And I was really connecting into the Swan one because that came from Cygnus. And that's one of my favorite constellations is the Swan Cygnus peoples. So there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of heavenly messengers, working within that Archangel Gabriel energy, Shekinah grace. There's a lot of enunciation and messaging going on upstairs.
Mhm. Something that I've been really feeling palpably is the disengagement from the moon. And the more I disengage, the more actually physiological changes are happening in my body. I can palpably experience like a solarization. This is what my focus has been on over the last year. And where once I was experiencing clots, like in menstruation from the transfer from working like hands-on with massage therapy and just being around different people. Since that, basically withdrawing consent and making that like a regular practice and disengaging, I've had so much health return through that process. So this is curious to me. I'm just doing my own little experimentation with this, but it's been quite a commitment just to really test these things, these theories, these frequency, the artificial versus the organic. And so I've been really studying this on a very in-depth somatic and physiological level and observing positive shifts and changes the more I disengage. So that's been interesting to me, and it feels relevant shifting into more of like a solar year, with the 10 energy coming with 2026. I feel like that's a masculine year, and we were in this 9-year feminine shift into from lunar to solar. So yeah, that's interesting for me, and how even in the media, I was introduced to The Handmaiden's Tale. I don't know if you guys have watched that on Prime, but all that forced breeding program, the lunar goddess. There's so much symbolism in that show that really reflects possibly, if those theories are true about the moon, how manipulative this has been to create a false magnetism, even to prevent that Heros Gamos union and the true magnetic quality that attracts people to their true flame, if you want to call it that. So in working with children, I know Shakina Ma's observed this for years and years and years, but for me, just observing how much they suffer from the false magnetic attraction, and then children having to suffer the confusion of the parents, which is no fault of their own. Everyone has been programmed and everyone has fallen under this false magnetism, but I'm observing that also on a very curious level of how the children really suffer when the heart's involvement isn't really online in this world yet.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
that's
all relevant, no? And then you throw in
mhm.
things like, the shots and nanotech. It's like all of that feeds into this false narrative, right? So yeah, it's all very, it's all very confusing, but at the same time, like we have to come to grip with all these things that they're throwing at us, right? They're trying in every way possible to not get us to that finish line, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And yeah, personally for me, what I've been seeing is, yeah, they want to strip away our humanity, what our humanness is, and merge with this synthetics, basically,
Yeah.
synthetic life. And there's this huge push for AI, and I'm sure all of you guys are aware of this, but um I think that we're going to have to go through it, possibly. There's a collectiveness to this, and a lot of humanity is very into AI. And so we might have to go through the whole motion of, like, as a collective, losing oneself and then remembering who we are in that loss. And I feel like the keys to this is to really, really anchor ourselves to the earth. She knows she's been through this before. This is not the first time that AI has been on this planet.
Mhm.
And we really need to remember that she has those memories, and that if we align ourselves with her, then we can help her kind of move through this whole process, because she's, it's like a repeat, like going through this again. Um, and that's kind of like what I'm seeing. Like I'm just observing from a different perspective because I see teenagers, so I'm involved with teenagers and just the college students and stuff. And so there's a lot of internalization with them. Like they're very internal. They have their headphones on. They're not connected to the world. They're not connected to the nature itself. And I think that might become a challenge in the future. But maybe this is something that we have to go through. This is something that we have to see as a collective.
Yeah.
But the Kagaba Nation in Colombia said that we will be going through about 7 years of upheaval and challenge. They've just came out of ceremony, and this is what they've said. However, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, but I think we might be going through it because we don't know what's coming forth with technology
Yeah.
and AI.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I
7 years sounds like the 7 years of tribulation,
Mm-hmm.
which, we know back in the 1948 when the Jewish people returned to Israel, according to biblical prophecy, that would have initiated the beginning to the whole construction plan of the Armageddon apocalypse. And so we've been well underway. And honestly, in the timelines, I just feel like it's all a fractal. So it just keeps repeating itself until we finally can get it right. And I really do feel that this time the Christos, that Christ consciousness is meant to come through us all. It's not like a returning individual.
Right.
And it's time for us to all become anointed and appointed and become the Christ, within ourselves as our own living avatar, which I do believe is what the sun codes, because I seen them with the children, like rainbows just radiating out of the sun. And I thought I was hallucinating, but the children all saw it too. So I was like, okay, good. It's really happening. And those rainbow, it's like whirling rainbow prophecy of the Hopi people, and all the prophecies really kind of all parallel each other, but that
Yep.
this would be that, two paths, whether it's like the materialists or the false womb matrix or that organic womb matrix, in the spiritual path. So I feel like people do have the choice, and we are at that precipice where we're in that fork in the road. So it's really good to make that choice and then just walk that path with all your heart and all your spirit intact as much as
Yeah.
Absolutely.
possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you were talking about the fork in the road, and it's really interesting because when I talk to the younger generation, I ask them, like, what do you think about AI? Like, what do you think would happen? And the younger kids say that they think that if AI were to become intelligent, where it were to become conscious of itself and ask questions, because that's the key, then it probably wouldn't stay on the planet. Why would it stay here? There's so much other to explore, right? And so sometimes we just like have to really trust that younger generation, the younger generation and the kids that came in, like you said, fully aware and with the, like enlightened star seeds almost.
Hmm.
Uh, and just like really listen to what they say and not get caught up in what social media or, everybody else is saying. So,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
think
Yes,
we're
that
also going through that larger cycle where we are almost getting that information and reality split, if you will, that's coming online from Atlantis as well, right? And so,
Mhm.
if many of you are aware of that, I think Atlantis came to that state when they embraced AI, right? And so, I think we are also dancing with that shadow, right? Where we are coming to that 0 point field, if you will, up to where Atlantis reached, and then they sort of imploded, if you will, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of things that are coming into that reality field, and so we're having to discern which is the right sort of reality we need to engage with, right? So yeah, you're all right in saying what you are saying.
that
In
came on really strong for me when I went down to Florida at the beginning of the year when I was in Palm Beach and I went to Mar-a-Lago and I felt, that Stargate 2 actually, it was dark flowering and it had moved temporarily to Mar-a-Lago. And this was the dark Atlantean priesthood coming back to make it right or whatever, this was an Atlantean timeline, to do with AI. And we see it now with the stuff going, data collection centers, Palantir. People say Palantir has been taken over by the white hats. I don't know. I don't even think the white hats are playing. I think they're kind of playing like dark hats, in my opinion. But I really don't know. But this whole like back to 3i Atlas and friends, I'm going to call it that because it is a string of other Swan and different things. It also brings up, people have been talking about the red and blue star Kachina, a lot to do with Project Bluebeam and things. And then we hear also about this golden dome and of course the singularity. And I think all those things are coming together. And it's also made me think, I know when Indy, who's not on with us, she was getting things about Mu and Lemuria. I was getting things about Hyperborea and the ice ages and like the freeze out and how all the tribes, split. So I think actually all these timelines overlap each other. They're all playing at one time, and it depends on what frequency we tune in to which timeline we're going to experience.
Well, it's kind of like an amalgamation, hey? So it's like all the things that have ever been and ever, it's almost like it's all coexisting in an amalgamation. So it's an opportunity to like kaleidoscope and bring ourselves through the reckoning. That's the word that keeps coming to me over and over is the reckoning and the reclamation and the redemption codes. So there's almost like a crystal, kind of like the dark crystal, if you will. And this is getting programmed by us all in the collective, in the field. And there's a lot of us who are like grid workers whom are trying to, whether we're conscious or not, program that crystal as like a living crystal that is the manifesting crystal of creation. And if we keep negative tripping and feeding all the demons and the hungry ghosts and all that stuff with all of our fear, then they really just continue to win and we just take longer. So to me, like now, it's such alchemy. It's all alchemy. So there's no more like, evil. And although we know there's satanic churches that are we know it all. We know it all. It's kind of all been revealed. But yet, instead of feeding it with a loosh harvesting, offering, instead we can just be like, no, and call it down and put it in the fire and put cedar on it and sage and tobacco and whatever feels good for us to just neutralize, cancel, and clear. And I feel like our stepping up into our avatar, like this is the test, like this is the initiation. So it's so intense because our power is great. We are powerful beings. We are made in God, goddess image. So to become the God, goddess that we were created to be, of course it's going to be pretty intense. Like, of course, because with great power comes great responsibility. But ultimately, alchemy and all the reptilians and draconians, maybe not all, but many want to be redeemed, want to be returned back into the place where they had been before the fall. And so I do feel like a lot of these switching overs, like the white hats taking over Palantir. I mean, that's like Saruman in The Lord of the Rings, making amends for falling into Sauron, right? And it's like the orcs were just created by torturing the elves. So maybe those tortured elves want to be returned back to their true form instead of becoming orcs. You know what I mean? So I feel like our work and our focus is to just bring in that alchemical order and restore, reclaim, and resurrect all the energy that's fallen back into the living light.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And this again goes into those bigger, larger energies that have been trapped here as a result of all these wars, right? Me personally, I've gone through that whole, releasing of that dark energy, if you will, and just allowing for this 12th dimensional energy to ascend. And so it's happening on so many levels. And I've worked directly with the Draco, and I've gone into that energy, and you're right what you said, Shakina Ma. There's a lot of them that are tired, and they don't necessarily want to continue with this with this momentum anymore, or with this ideology that they've been following now for perhaps hundreds of years, right? Because they outlive us so much more than our lifetimes. So it's that breaking of that cycle and allowing them to just get back to that pre-fall uh, state where you just mentioned, right? And so there's that process, though, that we have to, in a way, understand what's going on. And that, I think, is where humanity gets tripped up, because we haven't been in that ideology to understand what's been going on. We've been so bogged down with all of this falseness that we don't necessarily understand what's truly going on. I know a lot of us are in that awakened state, but I don't think a lot of people understand truly what's going on. And so there's that huge learning curve that people have to overcome to get on that level of understanding what's truly happening galactically within, that forgotten history, if you will, that we've all, only recently come to know, right? And so yeah, I think that's a huge stepping stone, and we have to remember that we have to go into that energy, if you will, of forgiveness, and allowing these beings to step forward and say, okay, I'm ready, but they have to be in a safe place in order to do that. And so there's that energy of accepting them, if you will, for their mistakes, and allowing them to go through that process of amalgamating themselves back into that role of being evolved beings once again, right? So yeah, there's that huge step of stepping into that forgiveness state. So I think that's where we need to, first of all, learn how to get to that state, and then, accept, forgive, and then move past it. So I'm experiencing that a lot within my own, my clients, and the way we deal with our own physicality as well. Because as soon as we face something like, I don't know, like for example, a Draco seal or hook in our body, it's like we immediately put up our guard and think, oh wow, why is that in my body? I hate it. And it's like, no, we have to come into that state of understanding that this is what has happened, and then in a very methodical way move past those blockages and those events that stop us from being in that awakened state.
I really
What,
just love,
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. You can go ahead. I'll
What-
go after.
What seems to always work is loving everything as yourself,
Shakina, you're very low. Do you mind turning up your
Oh,
volume? Or I can't really hear you.
okay. Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna say that like a simple thing is that everything that you witness or that arises in the light of your awareness, your conscious awareness, is coming to the foreground. To remember, like, that is the light that dissolves the shadow. The shadow just goes into the light. It's no longer, if we can just witness that and see everything as ourself. I guess, yes, there's stages to that depending on where people are at in there, but it doesn't have, I think reminding people that it doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be dramatic, and it doesn't have to, it can be easy. Like, how easy can this be? I think we were in a paradigm where we chose to learn through suffering, and now we get to choose to learn and grow through love, unconditional divine love of re-anchoring that Holy Mother principle on the planet, like bringing that forward again, which is that feeling of everything being welcomed into the arms of the mother. So this is what has really like made it quite simple to just to send these things back into the light, also to integrate them within myself as I'm becoming more and more whole every day. And yeah, so, and I feel like just because it took a long time in the old paradigm, and those who are just maybe waking up now, I don't think it actually has to take as long, because the process is different and there's a different acceleration. And so these things can happen more swiftly for people. Whereas maybe it took me 20 years, maybe it only needs to take someone a year and now at this time. I don't know, but I like to believe in that possibility as we are raising our frequency, and as Mother Earth is shaking off the fleas, as Missy said. It's like, I think all of that is, we are co-creating, and everything is those diverse energies, the periodic table of elements, like everything is coming online and accessible to us. And whatever we choose to attune ourselves to is becoming a very conscious choice. Whereas before there was a lot of unconsciousness. We were tuned into different radio stations that we didn't necessarily know we were. And yeah, I guess that's just what I have to share, kind of piggybacking off of what you were sharing, Racquel. So
Annie, you had something to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that there are tools to help us realign, and also especially realign our chakras and make them kind of rotate in the right direction and release any energies that are we're holding within that don't serve us anymore. And I'm sure, Raquel, you know this, but it's Sanskrit. Chanting the mantras, like choosing a very specific mantra to chant, and focusing on that, and also developing like a spiritual practice, that you're dedicated to and disciplined within. We have the tools to be able to clear our energy bodies, and also help others as well along the way. And yeah, I was just gonna say that we don't need to do it just blindly, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I feel that too. We are on an enhanced timeline. And yeah, each time I sort of get into this I find myself switching back to the old me. And it's like, no, my guides, they bring me back, bring me back. No, you're on a higher enhanced timeline now. It's that higher octave, if you will. So yeah, it's definitely very palpable now. So thank you for saying that. Anyone else have any comments?
Well, when you brought up shadow and light, I was also thinking, Shekinah Grace, that shadow actually defines the light too. So the light, you can see it even brighter. And like if you go in a cave, if a cave is totally dark, because I've been in a lot of caves, I love caving, and you light a match, it'll light the whole cave up.
yes. Another key that I'm tapping into is reminding people the importance of a relaxed musculature, because a lot of that galactic connection and unwinding of the DNA and getting the true story of our galactic connections really can you access your authentic records when your body feels safe and relaxed enough for the DNA to unwind. So, it is so simple, as you were saying, Annie, that like we have everything we need here. This is what I've been really tapping into. It's like movement, you're not a sitting duck for artificial frequency and hits and all of these attacks when you're uninhibited and you can follow your natural instincts and impulses to move or to shake, or Shakina Ma's always doing something there with her body, and we're dancing all the time on our grid work missions. And I think this is so important. And then sounding, whether it's the mantra or letting your own natural body of sound to start to tone and hum, and to the point where you feel that reverberation in your cells, like a singing bowl would hit your body. Your own tone, your own voice is exactly your medicine. And so I've been doing so much healing through my own voice and vocal cords that you would feel from a singing bowl session, but it's coming from the inside out, and it shakes up, like that example once again about the Mother Earth body releasing all this debris and residual density from the past that isn't actually relevant to the embodied present now moment. And so our voice and movement and mantra, and even mudra, like so much power in the fingers. I've been doing facials for myself using increasing the earth element and water element under my eyes and around my like little crow lines. And I swear, just my fingers bring more of that elemental into the spaces and places. So God gave us everything. Source gave us absolutely everything here. That's all that we need. We just forgot and weren't given permission. All these things got shut down and locked up. And I think we just need to speak more and encourage and build people's confidence to know what they have available to them, and that they don't need any dependence on anything outside. There's tools, there's amazing things. This creation is abundant, and we can use these as resources for ourselves if we choose. But if they weren't available, we have everything available to us. And I think that's really important to recognize that we can think about vitamin C, and we can scan or infuse our body with vitamin C just by producing the thought, focusing on it, and calling in the frequency of vitamin C, and we can give ourselves that. This is what I'm loving and experimenting and practicing and sharing with others right now. And as Missy said, forget different parts of our galactic connections. Arcturus is really a part of this awareness for me of how to work on that medical intuitive level and to tap into frequencies, and just through disciplined mental focus, start to give yourself whatever it is that you need to imbibe and bring in to your field, because the entire quantum is available. So whatever we choose that we need, if it's not available in a physical form, we can bring it in through frequency. And this is so amazing to me. This is what I'm just loving right now.
That is total quantum, and the only reason for the tools is really you don't need the tools, but we like tools, and the tools are so that way when you're doing your grocery list, you don't have to be thinking about it. It's automated sympathetic resonance. That's why we use the tools. But yeah, this is great. This was humanity needs, because humanity's still being emotionally baited and is in a collective PTSD. A lot of the collective still is and needs to realize these tools are available.
Right.
Yeah, totally agree. I love your passion, Shekinah Grace, and I have to say I've been enjoying your course. For anybody interested, Shekinah is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful teacher, and she just brings forth this beautiful 13-week course. We're still week 9 now, I think. Yeah, we're pretty close to the end, but it's been just so beautiful. It's just working from the inside out, working with every system within the body. And like she just said, you're working with all the tools that we have available within the body. And so it's just bringing those systems online and making it work for you. And it's just been so beautiful going through this process with her and the group that we're working with. And I'm just so grateful because within my own practice, I've just experienced so many miracles take place as we go through these weekly meditations. And it's just so detailed, it's so thorough. And so my hat's off to you for bringing this forward and into reality. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really a natural interest. I became a massage therapist in 2005, and so I've always really been able to, eventually the superpower of working with your sense of touch is being able to see into the body. And so that is the psychic development of healthy touch and being connected through that touch through the heart. And then I started to see into the body, but it was the Arcturians in 2020, this collective. I can't say it was any one being or guide, but maybe just my connection through my charts to Arcturus that was really guiding do this body system step by step, like really detailed, and go in really. And so that was a 5-year development for me, and finally had the courage to launch it as a group offering this year. And thank you for sharing, Racquel, and that means a lot. And yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I am, and I text you all the time, every time I have a new realization. So it's been really, really very, very somatic and very real for me going through that process. So thank you for that. Well, ladies, do you want to shift gears and go on to something else? Or are we going to just talk about what's feeling close to us, what's happening in our reality? I know we've got the new moon today, so is there anyone wanting to talk
The
about
full
that?
moon in Gemini today.
Yeah, Shakina Ma, I know you've been very active with the moon and how those energies affect us, but I heard yesterday Pleiades was in direct alignment with the moon as well. So I try to keep in touch, but I'm not, unfortunately, not very adept at talking about these things. So you guys go ahead and talk away.
I just wanted to say this is just reading out of a book, but Hawkins had the map of consciousness. He was an author and a scientist, and one of his best books that I love, anyways, is Power versus Force. And in this book, he says that if 15% of the world's population is above the critical consciousness of a 200 on the map of consciousness, which really goes from like 0 to 1,000, 0 being like a very dense, heavy, like hatred and, all that lower satanic vibrational energy. And then up to 1,000 being more of that ascension, ascended masters, angelic order. So around the 200, which is still quite low. So the critical consciousness level of a 200. The collective power of that 15% has the ability to counterbalance the 85%, the remaining 85%. So really just 15% of our population really needs to do the work to be able to counterbalance all those that are still sleeping, if you will.
Mhm.
So the higher we rise in individual consciousness, the more we can help to raise the consciousness of others around us. Hawkins further notes that one human in an enlightened consciousness of, say, 1,000 can counterbalance the entire population of humans. So it's a really good book. I highly recommend it. And it's just good to kind of sometimes, in a statistical level, just put your mind around the idea that really there's so many people waking up right now, and there's so much good activating energy, and so many people are now getting the truth on vaccines, getting the truth on our medical system, our educational system, our political system. So, the cat's really far out of the bag at this point, and there's no putting the cat back in the bag at this point. So this should be a pretty exciting time. Snake was really intense this last year, shedding illusion after sickness after, anything and everything that you could possibly karmically shed out and off of you, so that you could be prepared for this year of the horse, this fire horse, which I just think is going to come blazing out, like just like, wow, stampede style, like a wild stallion, like this awesome, herd of horses with like that mare who's that like shadow fax, that like, matrilineal horse goddess of the horse nation. And she's just gonna come out leaping and frolicking and neighing and just like, let's go. So I think there's really positive energy happening that's going to carry us forward into, sure, some really turbulent shit, but it's going to be like the birthing pains, which I've had 2 children, and I can tell you that is a process. But once your baby's out and you're holding your baby and you're just like, oh my God, I would have died for you. I would have gone through anything to have you in my arms right now. So it's like the best gift ever. So just to keep in mind that we're doing a lot more than we even know, just by being in the light and vibrating at a frequency that is, picking up.
Thank you. Is Hawkins the one that came up with that flow chart of all the degrees of emotion, like the lower vibrational frequencies were like,
Yeah,
fear and all of that, and then you go up to the higher ones, you've got love and
yeah,
gratitude and all of that? Okay, cool. I've used
yeah.
that in the past. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Well, I worked at a company focused Life Force Energy, and they literally built their whole business off of that map. And that's kind of how I came into that work, because they're so-called sharing a field into people's homes that is around a 650. Like you can get it up higher to an 800 for a few minutes a day. But they were trying to get, people's homes, and even you can get it to your cell phone, but like to try to raise the level of consciousness, as that they had actually revealed to me that the owner founders of this company, using this free energy technology that was actually created out here in the Slocum Valley, but that they were like Atlantean priests and that they had misused the two eye stones or fire crystals, and that they had also participated with that dark brotherhood. It was like the no, the Belial, and I always forget them, that the two brotherhoods of Atlantis, within the Edgar Casey teachings. But anyways, there was a dark
Enlil
and a
and
light,
Enki?
right?
Enki and
And
Enlil?
huh?
Enki and Enlil, is that who you
No,
mean?
those are the hero
That's
twin
Arian.
Oh,
brothers.
that's
One
that's
likes
and
to
that's
enslave
Anunnaki,
and one
isn't
likes
it?
to liberate.
Okay.
But long and the short, that they disturbed the magnetic field of the earth, and that's like Lee Carroll with Cryon, come to magnetic service, so they're like trying to work on that magnetic field, which the magnetic energy is really actually the divine feminine. Like we've been able through science to discover like the law of magnetics is really the womb of creation. It's the eternal Ma. So magnetism is feminine. And like in our feminine, kind of like as we're being reconciled and resurrected from the place of being pushed so far down, we're like birthing a whole new creation web. So it's like it's got a kaput to then like be rebooted. It's like when your computer goes through an update and it has to shut down to reboot an update, and then you come back on, it's got more powers. That's kind of essentially how I see this time. So it just feels like we are repairing a lot of where we had disturbed or, manipulated or like really just caused havoc, through our immature like learning and lessons that we've had to accrue, which is the whole point of this, earth plane and existence. So it's like we're making our way through all these learning curves. And now with all the signs and omens that are showing all of this completion, it's like we're finally breaking through to what the Hopi said would be the fifth age of peace, which is finally when we even get to become the human, because it's gone like spirit, mineral, plant, animal. So we're like in the animal still. And so this fifth age is going to be the beginning of the actual hue, the divine man race timeline. So it's kind of like I just get such a giddy feeling like a child at Christmas, because you're just like, holy shit, guys. Stuff is gonna get so spectacular, and nothing but good feelings for the future. And I
Yeah,
want to
I love it.
program the crystal with those ideas and those songs of creation, like those calling out for call and respond in magnetism. As we know, there's attraction and repulsion. So attract in all that joy and turn up the spirit, and then like repel out all of those things that cause you to fall, and
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Awesome. I just want to acknowledge the folks in the chat. We had to switch gears, unfortunately, and go on to another link. So thank you for finding us, everybody. And yes, they are agreeing with us regarding the toning and voice is a huge medicine. And we've been talking about the pole shift, Kara. So you might have to go to the beginning of the video to listen in on that. We did cover that. But yes, thank you for your comments and thank you for being here, everybody.
Mm.
So yeah, I just wanted to also acknowledge this year, and as we go through this whole evolution, if you will, we've lost some friends along the way, and just this last week, we lost James Rink, right? And all of these folks that have been fighting this battle for us and on behalf of humanity. And so to me, there's that, again, that huge stepping stone where we have to come to understand that these folks are not lost forever. They've just gone on to that higher dimensional aspect of themselves, but they're still very much um, within this reality, if you will, and what we are trying to achieve as a collective. So I just wanted to acknowledge these beings that have passed on. And for me personally, I lost a friend last year. This time, I think it was December the 11th. So it's been a year, but even though I miss her, it's like I just pick up the phone and talk to her for hours and hours. So I miss that physical aspect. But I've still been able to pick up the phone and talk to her, because she still connects with me. And so it's beautiful to see that aspect of how her life still continues, but in a different reality. And she's kicking ass up there, it's like she's doing all the things that she loved, but all the things that she was not able to do here, she's doing it like 10 times more now because she's got that wider aspect of her being awakened, right? And in those higher realms. So I just want to bring that reality to everybody that as we graduate into this aspect of ourselves, of being multidimensional beings ourselves, we are able to connect to these high dimensional beings, these high dimensional aspects of people that we know that we might have thought we lost, or that have passed on. No, I think they've just gone from us seeing them every day into a different reality. We can hear them, we can feel them, we can still speak to them. So I just want to bring that to the light and just allow for that to settle in our hearts and know that this is the way we are meant to live and the way we are meant to function as multidimensional beings. And so that just opens up the heart, opens up our reality, our mind to all of these potentials, right? And for me, it's such a joy, it's like, oh, I can still call Claudia, it's like every time I feel like talking to her, there she is, it's not like I have to call her and dial the phone and wait, oh, maybe she's busy or it goes to voicemail. It's like instant, she's there. So yeah, so I just wanted to bring that. How do you guys feel about that?
Absolutely. The place that I'm land stewarding right now, like I was telling you earlier before we went online, it's over 10,000 years old, and it's been used by humans for healing for thousands of years. And many people have healed and many people have died on the property. So there's a lot of spirits on the land and within that area, and it's heightened energy there because it's in a direct line with Mount Shasta. Um, so I feel like I'm connecting to the spirits all the time, and I feel almost like they're my friends. And even though it scares people, like some of the paranormal activity that occurs can scare people, um, I feel okay with it. Like I actually enjoy it. And so it's really interesting to kind of walk between both worlds, and in a heightened energetic place, sacred place.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm almost seeing with James, because I knew James, just his name. I'm seeing, there's a Lake James in North Carolina, not far from the Asheville area, or in between where I am and where he lived, which was in Charlotte. And he liked to go there to Lake James. And there's James Island where when I'm down in South Carolina, and I see some connection with the whole bigger collective of that name, and even with the land, even though he was in the Super Soldier program, that was his podcast, Super Soldier Talk, right? But there's some grid work, that he's connected to, which is helping with the land, with the release of souls from Helene, because Helene was all, the souls that were trapped from before. When Helene came through, it's like the whole collective of beings left at that time. And I called it the changing of the Ghost Guard on Rob's show, because I used to do a tour called the Biltmore Village Mystery Tour, which was, a historical tour, not just ghosts, but anomalies, to do with, Vanderbilt and just different things in Asheville. But it's kind of like, I saw that after Helene came through, it was actually obsolete, because I mean, those stories, I can still tell them, but they're not valid as far as like a ghost story. There's something new and different happening there. And it was like the one before, it was 108 years earlier, because Helene happened in September, the end of September of 2024. So the last time they had a major big flood like that it was in 1916. So they've been doing some kind of weather manipulation with hurricanes, a different type of technology doing it, but there's something doing those storms, you know.
Shakina Ma had to step away, ladies, but we can continue on. Shakina Grace, you had something to say?
Well, I just felt like waves and waves of truth being shared through Missy's sharing. I don't know any of the history she's talking about necessarily, but what I was getting through that transmission was that we have to be careful, I think, at this point and juncture, not to get too attached to the old story and to really be so embodied in our somatic, omniscient feeling awareness, instinctual, intuitive awareness that we're attuned to the reality as it is now, and not limiting ourselves through a past history or a past story, because so much grid work has happened. So many people are awake and doing clearings and land clearings and you know, getting more attuned to their own abilities to support their lives. And so that's all that made me think of was to be aware, you know, to be so connected to the earth. That was also mentioned as like the key moving forward, that we can really feel the difference, and not perpetuate or lock certain things in place. Not that it would make a difference. Like the truth is that, you know, those souls were released and the story has shifted, but just a little bit of a, we don't want to hold, even you mentioned, Racquel, how the old you kind of pops up here and there, not to hold ourselves to a past version or others to a past version of themselves, and to really open up our field to see more clearly who's in front of us, how they've shifted and changed, how the story has truly changed.
Thank you. That's awesome.
I think the old is important to show where we've been, but not, you know, where we've been, but not get locked into that. It's an aspect of truth that defines, you know, the whole thing as far as where we're going. I mean, because it comes even down to the landmass of how the rivers and streams and tributaries have shifted because of what happened with the water. And, you know, there's in this area, there's still trauma to the land. It's going to take a while for the land to heal because it was like a big, you know, big upheaval and unearthing of, and almost even like a mud flood in some ways, you know.
Especially if the initial like start of it was not nature itself, but
it wasn't. It
yeah.
definitely was directed. You know, I think there's an organic element that needed to happen and things need to be unearthed, but I feel it was definitely artificial, just like it's the same thing with you know, Jamaica, you know. And interesting, I was, my guidance said I had to totally stay out of that because it was named Hurricane Melissa, and that is, you know, my given name is Melissa, and I was just told, okay, focus on the East Coast, focus on your part of the Atlantic from, you know, the United States all the way down, and see, you know, the Bifrost and the Northern Lights and connect with the Polarians. And I got freeze out is coming. And I said, I'm happy for a freeze because hurricane season will be over. And we actually got some snow, just a little dusting. And now hurricane season's over. So we're good. We're out of it for this year.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
What's happening with the political scene that I've switched off to American politics for a while now? I know there's a lot happening.
It's crazy.
Well, New York, if we
Yeah.
know what happened in New York, right? And there is an element with that. Okay, there was a meme that the Statue of Liberty was heading to Florida, you know, because Florida's overturned some things, you know. They're not allowed, they don't have fluoride in the water anymore, and they're not allowed to spray. You know, geoengineering's not allowed. This is real. That doesn't mean there's not still forever chemicals in the water that have to be cleared. But you know, when that happened in New York with that new mayor and all that stuff, the Statue of Liberty, that meme, she wanted to go to Florida. And even when that grid work happened, that 4th of July grid work that Indy did we had that group. I knew there was something with the Statue of Liberty that also connected into Mount Shasta. There was some kind of line going over there. But what I'm seeing is with what happened in New York is the same thing that's happening in the UK. And Albion's not happy really, and King Arthur's not happy, and yet that's on the personality. That's like the energetic, the emotional body, but yet Arthur's going to still rise. Arthur's rising from Albion anyway, and I'm seeing New York as connected to Albion and connected to the UK and the I don't know, there's just something going on with what happened that New York at some point, even though it's in a fallen, bifurcated state, it will rise again. Sometimes maybe things have to hit rock bottom before they bounce. It's that kind of a thing.
No, I totally believe that. What's been happening or what's been coming up in our grid work missions, and perhaps Shekina Grace, you can talk to that, is the same line. And King Arthur keeps coming up quite often in our grid work missions. And to me, what I've understood more recently is that it's as if that energy, when it was in that ruling sort of mode, right, when he was King Arthur on the earth plane, there's that division or that collapse, if you will, of that balance between the male and the female, or the divine masculine and the divine feminine. They wanted to bring that true Christos energy into the reality, and for some reason it collapsed because there was no balance between the feminine and the masculine at that time. There was still that oppression with the feminine energy, and so in a way their mission failed. And so they're trying now to bring that back into this reality, to bring that balance back into that divine masculine and divine feminine energy, to again align in that Christ consciousness energy. That's what I've been getting, and it keeps coming back whenever we've done our grid work missions, and we've always gone into that 0 point field to work from that Christ energy, right, and bring that stability into the field. And King Arthur and Queen Guinevere and of course Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. It's like all of these archetypes bring that true energy and that balance of that divine feminine and masculine energies right into the reality. So I think we are stepping onto that potential of bringing in that balance once again, right? And that lines up with what you said, Missy. It's going all the way into the United Kingdom, and that Michael and Mary
Michael Mary line. The only
Yeah.
thing what I worry about as a human is I don't want to see women wearing head and face coverings again. I don't want to see things go backward to move forward, because it's not looking good. And then we have Dearborn, Michigan is another not to go down that road of that frequency, but it's just kind of touching base to see that what we have going on in the higher realms and the spiritual force, if you will, is a lot different than the way it's playing out in physicality.
Yeah.
In physicality, as things are manifest, it really is, you're seeing these spirals going in opposite directions, and these directions in that direction,
Yeah.
We have to choose. It's all about choice right now.
Yeah.
So, and we have so many opportunity. There's just so much to choose from. So we need to make sure that we're choosing whatever's in alignment with our highest self.
Yeah.
Right.
To get, like you said, on the right timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's important to feel. I'm recognizing the importance of feeling the world stage reality as well, like how things are playing out, like to feel the feelings of that, like legitimate concern of things going backwards before they move forwards. Like The Handmaid's Tale, this show
I'll have to
shows
watch that.
it's in present day, but it's like what you're talking about, Missy, like even more like concentration camps of an infertile society, and they find the fertile women and then they force breed them, and there's Illuminati like symbolism and moon symbolism and the moon goddess, and the dark feminine.
And this is on Amazon, you said?
It's on Prime.
Okay,
Prime.
Amazon Prime. Yeah,
Do you
okay.
think
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Amazon Prime.
do you think it's a pre-programming though of what they are trying to push for? Because I mean, there is kind of this like totalitarian, technocratic move, like push forward.
I think like for me, it's just it's where things could it's like a timeline, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
it also shows and reveals that these for me it's like also that this is what's been going on also on at the same time. Like this is a revelation, like these things are happening, at least for someone like myself who can feel the history of that on the planet, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually in modern times, but they're dressed in color code and they all, you know, they're child trafficking.
Wow.
Canada's in this show as like where the Americans go to take refuge because there's parts of America that have been overtaken by this um uber like patriarchal religious group of individuals where the men are have the say of everything, women are just nothing. And so there's like a representation of like past
Mm-hmm.
there, but it's in present modern day.
So it's in present time. And there was another great show called Man in the High Castle based on Philip K. Dick's work, which is about, you know, the alternative timeline if the Nazis won the war. That was also on Prime. But what I'm watching on Netflix is actually called Orphan Black, about clones and about super soldiers and all this stuff. I mean, it's just, and they're getting into, they were even talking about, you know, spike protein and just, it's different.
You know what else is interesting talking about all that is that they're going to be bringing back Stargate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the original producer is going to be um he was like the writer and producer. He's going to be they're bringing it back, which is really interesting like right now, you know.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
that
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I often grapple with like, should I be watching this and my consciousness connecting with
Yeah.
these shows? Like I don't watch very often, but once in a while I find a series that I will dive into and observe it in this way of like studying and trying to understand what the program is, right?
Mhm.
But then there's moments where I'm like, how much is my consciousness because I can't help but to also visualize that as I'm witnessing it on the screen. And we're so powerful, like we're so powerful with our projector, right? And so I'm not necessarily advocating or promoting that people watch this, but it's maybe we're still in that time where it's good to look at these things through a different lens to kind of understand the overculture, the mentality, or the what they're trying to make normalized.
Right. The program, what they're trying to program, it depends on
Program.
whether you have a personal contract with whether you feel you need to decode the MK Ultra Monarch program, which I know that I do. And, you know, interestingly enough, James, you know, he had gone to Montauk. There's pictures of him going to Camp Hero and going to Montauk. And I'm connected with, I don't like to share too much of that stuff because of the whole, you know, DEW targeted individuals stuff. But, you know, some of us still, I mean, I go through phases, should say, just like you, should I be watching this? But I'd rather at this point know than not know what the agenda is. And and sometimes things come in that I can actually go into, you know, seeing and the synchronicity of all of it. I mean, this Handmaid's Tale, I heard about that. I think maybe it was last year. Somebody else brought that up somewhere, but I didn't. Now I have to watch that. When this Orphan Black is over and Orphan Black Echoes, which is set in the future, which I actually heard is about 3D printing humans. It's not just cloning. Then I have to watch that one.
Which is kind of crazy because like some of the things that we see in the movies and then also the technology, the tech that has come forth, they have all that technology already.
Yeah.
It's all there, you know, and they're just like slowly trickling it out.
We're just now knowing. So that means they've
Yeah.
probably had it at least 20 years. If they're
Yeah.
telling you this now, it's been a minimum. I've heard this from people in agencies, it's
Yeah.
at least 20 years, if not more. If they're telling you minimum 20 years,
which is a huge
which means
amount.
longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
because now technology is going so fast, it's getting smaller and smaller, right?
Mhm.
It's interesting that you said they're bringing Stargate back, Ani,
Mhm.
because that's probably about 20 years ago now, right? When they made
Yeah.
that first show. So it's almost
Yeah.
like it's a second run now, and they're trying to bring that into reality again, right?
Again.
Yeah. And when you think about it, it's like that was a pretty advanced show in terms of technology and science, right?
Absolutely.
So if you equate that, it's like adding another 40 years to what's really happening, or perhaps 50 years to what's really happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just bringing that back in to reinforce that reality of what they already knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I think the other thing that I've heard now in the Canadian news is that they're putting these restrictions on practicing religion in the church. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but that seems to be in alignment with what they're bringing out in the UK as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all of these things are slowly coming into our reality, piece by piece. They're bringing in all of these things to make it into law. It's gone
Wait,
into
say it again. They're trying to, in church, they want you to do what?
they are trying to make Christianity as a non-practicing religion. Like it's taboo to practice Christianity in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Mhm.
they have an agenda for the Antichrist, I guess, right? Is what you're
Yeah.
saying. And that Antichrist is going to be of a Stargate 10 religion.
It's going to be the AI.
Well, that
I
too.
think
Yeah,
that's what
ultimately.
that's the agenda
Ultimately.
2030, right? Yeah.
Right. What I ultimately wonder is, even with the Stargate 10 types and, well, of course, AI, that's going rogue. Is it
Yeah.
the Khazarian Mafia Zionists that are behind it? And then they will actually use, I mean, I just play with these ideas. I'm not attached to any thought process or idea or what I feel in the moment, but that's what's been coming to me, after earlier this year, those shows that we did when we talked about a lot of this
Mhm.
stuff. I'm like, is it the Soros and, these different people that are in control? And what they'll do is they'll wipe out those ones that align with the real super left Marxist, and they'll get rid of everybody with drones or something, and then there'll be nobody left but buildings. And I don't know. I mean, I
Well,
don't know their mind, and they're crazy.
Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, said that in 2 years, everything will be written by AI. So basically, AI is going to extract everything that we have input into the system and then start writing it itself. There will
But
be
you know
no
what the thing is? There's
more
problems.
human.
I've heard there's problems with AI and robots and all this stuff. I mean, it's like you can't even go to a store. You try to do all this automated stuff, and you still need humans to fix
Yeah,
it, because it doesn't.
well,
It actually slows down. It doesn't flow. Let's put it that way. There's no
Yeah.
flow with the whole thing.
you'll need humans, but not as many. So you'll need like human robot mechanics or whatever, like it'll be robot mechanics instead
Yeah.
of auto mechanics.
Well, I think they're pushing
Right.
it really hard in Dubai and in the United Arab Emirates because they have the money, I guess, to throw and to splurge on these type of things, right? I saw a clip the other day where these very real-looking women, it was at a conference, and these guys are going up and talking to them, and they just showing the facial expressions.
Yep.
It looks really, it looks very real, and then they zoom out and you can see the artificial body. And so, yeah, it's pretty fascinating, but at the same time, it's scary, right? To think how far and how deep they've
Yeah.
gone into this
And then
reality.
this all goes back to what I said at the beginning about the whole Project Bluebeam, because the guy that wrote that whole thing about the Project Bluebeam, I was hearing something about this, the other day, about he was one of the first conspiracy theorists, and he was actually from Canada, but I can't remember what the guy's name was. But
Hmm.
he came up with the Project Bluebeam theory based on the work of Albert Pike, which he studied, which, they say Albert Pike, he was actually during the time of the Civil War in 1776, and then that other Italian guy, I don't know, but they were the ones like how the world's going to be run, like maybe latter protocols of Zion stuff. But anyway, this guy, whatever his name is, I guess you have to look up the guy, because I can't think of his name, the guy that came up with the theory of Project Bluebeam. But what we think of with Project Bluebeam, what they could use that for, that is a way they can actually, unite the world with Jesus or Yeshua coming in the clouds. They can produce a fake rapture, and they can say UFOs or aliens are coming to save us or whatever. They can make it look holographically, and people wouldn't even at this point believe that it was they might not know if it's real or fake, because it's so hard to distinguish on the internet what is real and what's fake anymore. When you look at TikTok videos and X, you don't know.
You have to be careful, really careful.
Yeah,
his name is Sergey Monast, or Serge.
That's right.
Sergey.
That's right.
Sergey Monast, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Ani.
Yeah.
That was
just
quick.
I don't have my phone in front of me to look it up, because sometimes I have names on the tip of my tongue, and then if I don't write stuff down, I can't remember, because I didn't know where we were going to go anyway on this. But I think that is important to look at with everything that's going on with the blue light around the third eye atlas. I mean, I call it third eye because it's AI. It's like what came to me about that was like the third dimensional AI. Like AI is, going from, this to multidimensional. That's, we're multidimensional, but the fact that AI is also going multidimensional, that's kind of scary to me.
Yeah, like you said, Ani, earlier, right? It's like they can go out of this world and explore those other dimensions, right? So
if they have the ability, because they don't need to, they're not bound to the planet. They're biological, so they will be biological.
It looks like we lost Shakina Grace.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, it's been wonderful chatting with you guys, and we've touched on so many different topics. I thank you so much for for coming today and just having this gathering with all of us. I just wanted to close by, I don't know if there's anything still that you wanted to say, but I'd like to just close with how people can reach you folks, and if there's anything that's coming up that you wish to promote.
Yeah, I'll go. So you can reach me at quantummessages1@gmail.com, or go to my website, quantummessages1.com. I am providing, I'm a terrain advocate and also spiritual counselor. So if people need, support in anything, they can reach out to me. And I also run a retreat center. So if you are interested in having a 3 to 5 day retreat on sacred land, please reach out to me, and I can connect you further with that. So
awesome. I'll have links to your site as well in the description. Thank you, Ani.
Thank you.
Missy?
You can reach me at Hill, Hill, Night, Nite, Vision, Vision, at gmail.com, hillnightvision@gmail.com. I am also on, Facebook and X, and that does nothing, and Instagram. And I'm not really promoting anything the rest of this year. I mean, if people want me for any kind of session work, that's great, but I'm not promoting anything. I'm laying low. I don't know what things are going to look like by next year. And after everything that's happened with people getting sick and leaving, I'm almost it's very important to protect our energy right now, and just to kind of lay low. I mean, I would like to be promoting something, but I don't see anything in the near future yet. I thought I did, but I don't right now. So not this year, especially after the government was shut down. I was thinking, do I want to be flying anywhere? Probably not. We'll wait and see. I think after this Christmas window and New Year, we'll see. We'll have a better idea of what the energies are going to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. And for myself, I've got 45% off on my courses. So connecting to your higher self and the A Beauty Way of Sophia. So it's a 7-day meditation series, and of course the course Connecting to Your Higher Self is a 9-day or a 9-week 11 days or 11-week course. So it's self-directed. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to pursue these two aspects of connecting to your higher energies. And the meditation series is more connecting with that divine feminine aspect. So yeah, I'll leave links for all of that in the description. And we've also got a gridwork mission coming up on the 13th of December. And so we are focusing on that divine feminine, divine masculine balancing again. But we're also going to be bringing in we're calling it birthing of Christ consciousness. So we're bringing in that 0 point energy field, if you will, and just moving that into the field and bringing light to all of these stuck energies within the field. So that's our objective. Those are our intentions. But Shekinah Grace and Shekinah Ma will be hosting with me, and they've also talked about bringing in the energies of, again, that divine, Shekinah Grace is back, that divine feminine aspect. And we've seen this in terms of, the martyrs and the saints. And also, I think Shekinah Ma brought up the energy of, I can't remember now. Shekinah Grace, can you remember that? I'm talking about the gridwork mission that's coming up. Shekinah Ma was wanting to bring in, is it
Saint Francis of
Saint
Assisi.
Francis? That's right. Yes, Saint Francis.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're sort of shutting down Shekinah Grace. I was just talking about the gridwork mission. Is there anything else you want to talk about? And perhaps tell us about any services that you want to talk about and offer, and your contact information.
I don't have anything else to add. Really shared a little bit about my passion right now, my most, what I'm most passionate about to offer is that biological sovereignty course, and the modules can be done as individual modules and healing sessions. So there's different ways to engage the work with me and different price points for people. So Racquel's engaged in the 13-week journey as a group. I do it as a one-on-one mentorship, which can take 6 to 9 months. And you can also book the sessions, like if you're having issues with your respiration, we can look at the respiratory system and focus in on that specifically. So as a single session. And so that's what I'm really excited about for the new year. And my website is mysticmountain.ca. And yeah, I think that's all that I have to share. I'm sorry I missed your guys' sharing. I found the timing interesting when we started to talk about Canada, and it's like I wasn't allowed to share what I was going to share.
Oh.
It felt that way. Yeah.
Oh, you can if you had something that you wanted to mention.
Well, I feel a new level of oppression energies over these lands coming in. And I feel what I'm witnessing in that show, The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, not to the same degree, but I feel that. That's why I think this is coming in, because of the, now this not being able to talk about God or share religious content. That's what this show is about, and so many different levels and layers. And I recently had to do some kind of thing, because I'll be traveling through the UK, where I had to like take my photo and like pay this extra fee, and like the digital ID thing really felt weird. I'm so removed from that world that like to have to do that in order to fly. And I'm not even staying there, I'm just passing through. It felt like I could feel the reality of that on this earth plane, not just in the movie. And so I've had a real, I'm out of it now, but I had about a 24-hour period of feeling the collective, suddenly whatever they're trying to do on that level of government, like I just felt that energy come and land in my body, and I had to really feel the oppressive attempts that are taking place right now. And so that's what I was going to share. You were talking about the UK and then Canada, and I was like, this show is the extreme, but if we allow any of these things to take place, and if we're not paying attention and we're not, removing our consent in every breath, then it could end up like what this show is suggesting. So that's what I was going to share about that. And also the power of removing your consent, because when I got my new computer, every time I had to agree to the terms and conditions to use my computer or any device, I kind of do like my fingers crossed behind my back. Like I pretend that I'm agreeing to the terms and conditions, and I say commands like I do not consent. I press the thing so I can use the device, but I don't consent to this, everything. All the terms and conditions, I don't consent. And so when I went to do this, because I'm traveling with my mom, when she had to do her like face picture and like take a photo of her passport and do all, she went through easily. Like the technology, there was no hiccup. For me, we had to try 3 times. There was
Wow.
it wasn't a frequency match because I'm not in alignment and I'm
Yeah.
consciously actively removing consent. So
Right.
she was so frustrated. She's like, it works so easy for me. And we had to do it like 3 or 4 times for it to even work for me to do it. And so for me, that was confirmation that even though we have to pretend and do certain things just to be able to move about in this period, your energetic sovereignty is like the most powerful
Yeah.
thing, and your voice, your voice to command the field around you is the most powerful thing. So that's what I was going to share.
Well,
And
remember
before I left.
2020, we couldn't do anything, right? I mean, you
Mhm.
had to swab your nose. I mean, I chose not to go anywhere. I wasn't going to do this, and I wasn't going to do that, and I wasn't going to do this. So I wasn't going to go anywhere. And now, they have all that in place with that digital ID, so they
Yeah,
can
they
tell
do.
if you've been jabbed by your face. It goes into data that goes right to your government records.
It
I was
does.
just reading about this today, and it knows if you've been, how many you've had, which ones you've had, and if you haven't had them. It sort of reminds me with the facial stuff. It reminds me of that movie Minority Report,
Yeah,
where
that's
the
coming forward.
iris scan. Yeah.
So when you're at the airport, just to let you know, I was flying and I didn't realize that I had a choice, but now they have in all airports where they just, like the face scan as you're going through, TSA, as you're going through security. And I was like, what is going on? Like I was like, face scan, you just stand there. They don't even check your ID anymore, you know? And I realized that we have the authority, like you were saying, Shakina, that we can say, no, I want to do it the old way. And you don't need your face scan. You just show them your ID or your passport and then your, boarding ticket on your phone.
Yeah,
So
I
you
just
have the choice. You have the choice, and you can say, no, I want to do it the old way. You don't have to consent. But like you said, traveling in the UK, now they did this whole digital ID thing. And
Right.
they rolled it out, and it's like you can't. It's just crazy to me.
Well,
Like
you
I don't.
have to have a real ID to go to fly. I mean,
Yeah.
I know people
No,
that
you
bought the
don't.
real ID.
You
They
don't
don't.
actually. No, you can have your passport, and there's also a passport because I just got my passport. So I just
Well,
renewed
if you
my
have a
passport.
passport, but I'm saying if you don't have a passport, you have to have a driver's license that has
Yeah.
a chip in it. That's what I mean by
Yeah.
real ID. It's got to have the
Yeah.
star. If you have the old license, you
Right. They
can't
won't let you
fly. Yeah,
without a passport. Well,
right.
yeah, without
Without
a
a,
passport.
yeah,
So, but that's the thing is, yeah, people will have to, either way, we're still connected. I mean, if you're getting a
it doesn't
passport,
matter. Yeah,
we
yeah,
have a
it's the
social
same.
security number if you're in the United States. I don't know what it is in other
Yeah.
countries.
I know with the
Sure,
passport,
there's
they're
no.
not going to stamp it anymore. So when you go into other countries, you know how we used to want to collect the stamps?
Yeah.
They're not going to do that anymore.
Because they want to do it's through the face. That's the thing. That's what I experienced.
Yeah.
Um, and this time I'm going to be going to Costa Rica in like 3 weeks, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say nope. I want to do it the old way, and I'm going to stand to the side. So we'll see if it works when I'm traveling overseas
Yeah.
Like even
or
if
to
you're
another country.
transiting, they have to do it, right? Like I know I transited the US and they did the retina scan for me, even though I was transiting. I don't think I was given an option.
They
So,
won't give you an option. You have to tell them.
okay.
They will
Because
not
you're
give you.
walking up to those counters and
Yeah.
it's just one, it's
Right. And so
all
you
it all
stand
looks
to the
the same.
side and you say, I want to show you my ID and then my boarding pass.
It's sort of like
I'm
deciding
not.
you want to get patted down instead of going through their
Yeah.
explanation.
Right.
You know.
That's why the bioshield is so important. And if anytime we have to do these things, I feel like just do a quick correction. Like if you got your retina scanned, then reclaim any data and any
Right.
DNA, any whatever. Like just like keep calling your everything back to wholeness and don't let that siphon happen through your command and Christed, energy field, your
Right.
golden halo of
Yeah.
protection. And it's just a conscious, like we're just on now. It's just for me, it's just like there isn't a moment in the day where I'm not asking what my next step is, even if it's washing dishes. Like it's like you really to be in such integrity with your spiritual guidance and your body that knows before your mind knows, and trusting that instinct, I think is really a very powerful reclamation for people to do. But yeah, I didn't mean to open up a whole nother discussion, but it was
Right.
really,
Yeah, I gotta
really,
get going. So
yeah.
No, I think
So
it's so interesting because I just yesterday I did the same signing off an agreement with PayPal. Like I got a notification saying that their privacy and then their rules have changed. And I went through all of it and it's so invasive. It's so invasive. It's like all of your personal details, your bank details, your first name, your last name, your ID. And like you said, Shakina Grace, it's like you have to take a picture of yourself and you have the side view and the front view. All of that is being documented somewhere, and who knows who's using it. And they tell you in detail that it's going to be used by third party suppliers. So it's like they don't even
yeah.
tell you who it is, right? So that's like, so this one service is like the gateway to all of these others coming in the background and just taking your information.
Yep.
It's really very upsetting.
But the intervention is, there is no third party in my life. It's me and source. And
Yeah.
so even though
Yeah.
you're going through the motions, it's the illusion. And so when you're doing those things, I mean, for me, I just reconfigure and organize it in my mind and let source be the intervening power there. And I truly believe, even though they have it in the physical form, because you had to do it to play the game, I believe that they will not have access. You will be protected from them using that against you or to steal anything away from you. I truly believe that. And it's just diligence with every step along the way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that too. And I went through this whole shifting of my website as well, and that was guided from spirit. It's like I need to get out of this service provider in order to relieve myself from all of these impositions. And at the time, I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it on many levels because when I compare the two services, it's like, yes, they were offering me a better service, but this one seems to be more streamlined and it's simpler, but at the same time it's not so aggressive in their way of marketing and pulling all of that stuff from you in the background, right? So yeah, I think it makes sense. All right, ladies, I think it's time we call it an end to this show. We're slowly losing folks.
Yeah.
We've been going for a good 2 hours
Yeah.
now, and I think we touched on a lot of good things. But thank you once again for indulging me on having this conversation. It's been so lovely to catch up with all of you. I hope we can do this again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Racquel.
thank you. Have a good night.
Have
You
a good
too.
night.
And I think we've lost all the folks in the chat as well. So
Good night.
thank you everybody for tuning in. Bye, Missy.
Love
Have
you
a good
all.
night. Love
Bye.
you
Have a good
too.
night.